Part three talks goes on to talk about ground level. Uh, we're still in chapter 7.2. Talks about ground level ozone smog. Right. This is something. Smog is something we experience a big problem in LA in the 70s, but we have a fairly good handle on it now due to regulations, and but we still see it in certain cities. For instance, in China and Beijing, they show a picture, and that's a big problem. They don't have the same types of regulations that we have here in the U.S., and they still, and lots of other industrial nations that are coming up, they're experiencing this problem. Let's talk about biological magnification. That's something that you'll definitely see on the EOC. And what it wants you to know is how pollutants can actually be concentrated in larger and larger amounts as it's going to the trophic levels. This was, for instance, the bald eagle. The bald eagle, which is our national symbol at one time, was in the endangered list, and that's because of different pesticides that were used on crops, DDT especially. Right? And what occurred was runoff from the crops would get into the water, and then different species, right, would actually predate first level the producers, then first level consumers, and it would be going up the trophic levels, and eventually huge amounts, concentrations would arrive at the very top, tertiary consumers and above, right? And this affected the bald eagle. What would cause it would cause their eggs to be soft, right? That was one of the side effects of DDT concentrations in the bald eagle population. So what happens when the mama eagle would come and lay her eggs, when she would sit on them, they would break, right? So the population of bald eagles, our national symbol, plummeted. And again, it had to do because of this system, how DDT, actually the concentrations as we went up higher and higher in the trophic levels, their concentration of the pollutant became larger and larger. Right now, those people that fish in the Florida Everglades, that's one of the things that they have to worry about is mercury pollution, right? One of the actual additives of some fertilizers is mercury. And what happens, it's accumulating in species, right, in populations in the Everglades. And these higher and higher concentrations are being magnified as it goes up the trophic levels. And there are recommendations by the Fish and Wildlife Commission, Florida Wildlife Commission, to not eat more than certain amounts of fish. And we see this globally as well in just toxicity levels and specifically mercury in fish populations and even ocean going fish, right? So this seems to be a very big problem. And of course, mercury being a heavy metal, which is something that they talk about in the actual section here. All right, let's do the questions. 7.2 review. Why do human causes of global change occupy a larger portion of the global change model than non-human causes? Well, all human activities combined now cause more change in global systems than non-human causes. What is the relationship between global warming and global climate change? Well, global climate change is a measurable long-term change in average temperature, clouds, wind, precipitation, and the frequency of extreme weather. Global warming is one type of climate change, an increase in average global temperatures. Number 3, explain one way that land use by humans affects nutrient cycles. Well, a sample answer could be agricultural land uses often involve the use of fertilizers, which can alter natural nitrogen cycles, like bacteria, nitrogen fixation. Number 4, what kinds of harmful changes can pollution cause? Right, sample answer, pollutants drive global changes in air quality and temperature averages. Biological magnification of pollutants can have toxic effects on humans and animals. And that's the end of 7.2. Let's go to 7.3, measuring and responding to change. Climate change, the data. Data show that both the atmosphere and the oceans have been warming. the sea levels are rising, and the Arctic sea ice, glaciers, and snow cover are all decreasing, right? There's plenty of data on this information. IPCC climate data, right, which is Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, actually gathers all the distinctive data from different areas, right, from different governments, different sources, and they're able to make a concerted plan or a model of what is occurring here, without a doubt that the climate change is here. Global warming is going on. We know the cause of it. One of the biggest issues is not only that it's here, because actually the Earth has gone through many phases of climate change and global warming over its existence, 4.6 billion years. But how fast it's occurring and the rate at which it's happening is not allowing species to actually be able to adjust, to change to those changes. Climate change impacts total precipitation and seasonal distribution of precipitation are changing. Heat waves are expected to become longer and more intense. Many areas will experience more episodes of extreme heat and storms, certainly here in South Florida. This is something that we have to deal with. Temperature is becoming noticeably warmer. Our summers are a little bit longer each year. Our precipitation amounts are changing. Thankfully, we have not experienced huge impacts with drought, but other parts of the country have. For instance, Georgia, some of in those valleys up there, they've actually experienced huge amounts of droughts. In Texas, areas that are traditionally very warm. Obviously, all these changes are going to have an impact on human systems and sea level rising, since most of the global human population lives on or around the ocean or water, right? This is obviously something that's going to affect the majority of the human population. Solutions: scientific research can have a positive impact on global environment by recognizing the problem first, gathering data, and then guiding changes in our behavior. So yes, we can. So we may not be able to stop global warming, but certainly we can change our habits and start changing the direction in which it's going. And if nothing else, slow it down. And that would be a huge benefit globally. The resiliency of Mother Nature is incredible. All right, let's talk about 7.3 review. How does the climate change that scientists are observing now compare with climate change in the past? The data indicates that the Earth is warming and that the warming is faster than anything in recorded history. Number two, how has climate change affected plant and animal species on Earth? Species ranges have shifted poleward and temperature-cued behavior is shifting in time. Number three, what actions have scientists already taken to help society address global climate change? What actions should be taken next? Well, the variable that will have the most effect on the average increase in global temperature this century is greenhouse gas emissions. All right, I'm going to stop it right here so we can continue with 7.4. So we'll have part 3. Having fun yet?